know you've been following the latest developments very closely. The recent reports about concerns about the possible reactions to the vaccine. How concerned are you about that? And do you think it will slow down this process at all?
Hey, Emily, I think that we have a vaccine on the cusp of approval is really important. So there may be additional elements, of course, to study around safety and efficacy. But I think the fact that we've got a great starting point with these two vaccines that are so close is really important. And of course, we'll need to do more work as an industry to make sure we've got a number of the populations and people covered. But I think we've got an exciting starting point.
What is your outlook on how challenging the distribution process will be, especially if you need not just one shot, but two shots within a certain amount of time, and of course, a huge population?
Right. Yeah, certainly the logistics and the infrastructure required really a formidable challenge, but I think one that we're ready to mobilize to address that with the two, as with the two vaccines that are eminent and in FDA right now with two shots and also refrigeration requirements. I think the opportunity to really look at a number of technologies that are focused on addressing logistics and infrastructure, getting down to room temperature stability, a single dose with a path to scale those to the volumes that we need is really important. So as we look into 2021, we're really excited about one of the companies that we've supported called Vaxxus, which has such a technology for this room temperature stabilization, the single dose, and this path to scale that we also clearly need to see in 2021 as we're headed into the new year.
We just got some new data from Johns Hopkins. Cases of COVID-19 now topping 70 million around the world. We've got Pfizer and Moderna on the cusp, as you say. Do you think there will be a lot of different options when it comes to actual distributors? I mean, obviously there are a ton of pharma companies working on it, but does the fact that Pfizer and Moderna, that they'll be the first to market, will they then take the majority of the ultimate share? Or do you imagine there are going to be, I don't know, a dozen different choices?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think it's hard to see right now that there's a dozen, especially in 2021, given sort of what we're seeing right now and the nice efficacy results. But I do think that, of course, there's a number of others that are pushing really hard behind Pfizer and Moderna. I think it's very possible that we'll see more entrants, but I think a lot is going to be riding on these first two, plus maybe, another handful that may get up for approval here headed into 2021. But the logistics challenge that you pointed to, I think is going to be pretty formidable. And it's going to be a real challenge with just two players, given the elements that they've got in their supply chain and the double dosing. They're going to need to be more sort of investment and resources mobilized to kind of get over some of those challenges that they pose, despite the fact that we've got a great starting point with the two of them.
So let's talk about those investments. You mentioned one of your portfolio companies. Obviously, COVID has and the fight to get it under control has created some opportunities for up and coming biotech and health tech players. Where are you doubling down, knowing that fighting this disease is going to be really important for the next few years?
Yeah, absolutely, Emily. So I think, the sort of 2020, if you will, it's like pandemic and pivoting. I think those are maybe the two P's that we've been seeing this year. I think one aspect that has also been clearly prominent is the detection, our ability to do surveillance, to do screening, to do diagnostics, to know where it is, and that will also help us deploy kind of our vaccine resources. And so, one of the other pieces maybe to talk a bit about that detection, and with that vaccine we have, where can we best use it in addition to those frontline workers? What types of communities? We've been very excited to support BioBot, which is one of the preeminent companies really focusing on that wastewater detection of COVID-19 that we've seen has been so important. This field of kind of wastewater epidemiology is just emerging really with COVID-19. And this team had been working in that space and then pivoted into COVID-19 pretty rapidly to help a number, 400 plus wastewater treatment sites around the United States really understand what was happening in their communities with viral levels and where there may be outbreaks happening. So I think that surveillance and protection of community health for COVID-19 as well as for other aspects will be important in 2021.